is called The Cookie Never Crumbles, Inspirational Recipes for Everyday Living.
Cookie never crumbles. I tell people that there's that saying, oh, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I think that's the meaning to cookies. Cookie never crumbles, and it might be, if it gets crushed, well, you just got smaller pieces of cookie, but each cookie still tastes great. Each piece still tastes fantastic. And you put them all together, and you can once again have a whole cookie. So the cookie never crumbles. Life is never really what it seems. It's always more.
Oh, that's lovely. Now, where do we get a hold of these books? Amazon.com, or do you have a different...
You can go to WallyAmos.com.
WALLYAMOS.com.
Yes, they can be ordered from my website.
Oh, that's excellent. So let's talk then how to motivate your kids to become lifelong learners. Okay, in your opinion then, may I call you Wally? Is that what you like to be known as?
Yes, that's what everybody calls me.
What are the top 5 steps a parent can take on a daily basis to motivate their kids to love to learn?
Well, I was going through Costco yesterday, and a gentleman named Theotis who worked there, he stopped me, and because, I'm known here, I'm getting ready to open this new chip and cookie store, and I've been involved with literacy, and now I'm very much involved with children's literacy. So people see me, and they kind of think I have the answers, and I'm flattered that someone would think so. But I don't know that I don't have any definitive answers for people. But he asked me, he's got a son who's 8 years old, and he's having problems getting his son interested in reading books or reading anything. And he said he's tried everything that he's. I said, well, find books that interest him. He said, well, he's tried that. So I mean, I was really kind of stymied, and I'm going to have to research this a little bit more, because I've got a grandson also who is very, very bright. He's an A student, but he also is not really a bookworm. He's not really sold on reading a lot of books. But my wife came up with an idea that I think one thing that might work is setting aside a time, because reading, first of all, is the foundation, and reading aloud in particular. Reading aloud, it develops language skills, it improves listening comprehension. But I'm talking to the choir here, because this audience knows all of those things. But my wife, as we took our walk this morning, suggested that maybe reading aloud to that 8-year-old every day at a prescribed time for just maybe a minimum of 10 minutes a day. Picking a book with the subject matter that the child is interested in. And if you do that, hopefully eventually, the child will become interested and want to begin reading also. But I think that children pattern behavior of their parents. Now, and the gentleman yesterday shared with me that he had not been a great reader, so he had not been a great reader as a child, so he's not a wonderful reader as an adult. So if his son maybe saw him reading more, because Ralph Waldo Emerson says, "Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying." So the idea is to become the example that you wish others to follow, not to preach to them and not to think in terms of motivating them, because motivation it's from the inside. You can't. As I said earlier, you can bribe someone, or you can threaten them or coerce them into doing what it is that you want to do. But that is short term. So you have to really search for that secret button that will unleash the desire that a kid has inside of him or her, that will lead them on to being lifelong learners. I saw a girl, I was walking the beach yesterday, and I saw a young lady, a teenager, wearing a T-shirt, and the T-shirt said, "I go to school to socialize." And I thought, what a horrible thing. That's not positive in any regards. And she has it totally backwards, She doesn't understand the value of education, and maybe it's just a little cute message, and maybe she's being hip or whatever. But I think that as a society, we need to begin to place a stronger emphasis. and a stronger value on education, and connect education to the future, to outcomes, because if you're not educated, then you're headed down a dead end street. So I don't have steps. I'm not an educator myself, although we're all educators to some degree, but I've had no training in educating people or in inspiring or motivating them to become educated.
So one of your suggestions then is don't just associate learning with schooling, but recognize that learning and education is daily habits that we develop now and that we take with us to the rest of our lives.
But also, Rebecca, to educate, it does not mean to cram a lot of knowledge into your head from books. I believe that to educate literally means to extract. So the idea is that we are born knowing everything. So then what must occur is we must create an environment that will help to stimulate that information, that knowledge that we already have in us, so that we can pull it out, because, it's not just to memorize a lot of books, because that's just developing a strong memory. And again, if kids are doing something that they are interested in, then they will do more than just memorize the information. The information will become a part of them. That's true of anyone, not just children. You can't do things that you have no interest in doing, that you're not really excited about doing. I'm excited about opening this cookie store now because that's what I love doing. I love starting businesses. Doesn't matter how many hours it takes, how long it takes. I love what I do and get great satisfaction from it. So I can go on forever, and I'm always finding new ways to do it and seeing it from different perspectives. And I think if we can excite, if we understand that young people need the same excitement in their life, they need to be challenged. They need to be doing stuff that, first of all, they want to do. When they're even as early as when kids are 1, 2, 3 years old, when we start reading aloud to them, the first basic is choose a book with the child. Too often we want to do things for children, not realizing that they are capable with proper guidance to do things for themselves. And I think that's one of the values perhaps of homeschooling. I've known a few people who have homeschooled their children, and it's so motivating to go to their homes and they have the classroom set up in the house, and it is just that room, or those rooms are dedicated to learning, and the kid knows that, and the parents know that, and that's just the way it is.
So we're talking about steps a parent can take on a daily basis to motivate their kids to learn, to love learning. So number one is reading aloud. Read aloud to our child. Then what would you consider the second step to be? You talked about identifying a child's passions, helping them to figure out what it is that they really love to do. Is that one of the steps?
But don't you think so? Doesn't that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because then your interest and your passion can help carry you through any hurdles or obstacles that you come across.
And you've got to have their attention. If it's something that the child is interested in, then you're guaranteed to have their attention.
That's excellent. So find out what they're interested in learning.
Right.
What's another step? And am I pigeonholing you too much by having you have 5 steps, or is this okay?
I don't care.
Okay, it's just kind of handy for listeners because I know they're taking notes.
Uh-huh.
So what's another step then that we can take?
I think being a positive example, being a good example for your child, because too often it's do as I say, and it should be do as I do. Because if your child sees that you have interest in reading, if you're always reading, if there are books and newspapers and magazines all around the house, then obviously your child is going to pick up on it also. Too often parents want to motivate children and inspire children to do things that they're not even doing. So the child says, well, if you're not doing it, why should I want to do it?
It's so true.
but so it's being the example, but it's also doing things with your children.